All right. Well, this is a new year, new exciting stuff happening. My name is Kevin Sanderson. I am your host for this PPC AMA, the first of 2025. We're going to be answering your questions about how to scale your business on Amazon using paid ads and do it more profitably. So if that sounds of interest to you, you're definitely in the right place. So a couple of things I just like to know about is, sorry, I had somebody just walk in the door. Anyway, couple of things I just wanted to point out is, what was I going to say? Oh, sorry, I got distracted there for a moment. I would like to know from you, how did things go this holiday season? So this is our first PPC AMA since the beginning of the new year. And I will be interested, I'm sure everyone else is interested, to kind of compare notes. How did it go? So before I talk a little bit about my own holiday season and how it went, I want to know from you, whether ads related or just sales in general, just tell us in the comments. The one thing I will say is we do reward participation at times. So this is not an anti-participation trophy. That's a borderline participation trophy back there. I got a like number one in my age bracket at a race I ran. I think I was the only male in my age bracket that ran it was a small race. So it was borderline a participation trophy. So usually we kind of dog participation trophies, but here we're going to be giving away participation trophies, meaning I will be giving you opportunities to who knows what we will be giving away, but it will be of value. And all you have to do is comment how things went. And I'll even make this super easy. You can use an emoji if you'd like. Just tell us in the comments how things went. So in case you're not familiar, My Amazon Guy is a full service agency. I am the marketing and partnerships guy at My Amazon Guy. Last year, we did about $1.2 billion in sales, or we managed about $1.2 billion in sales on the Amazon platform. That represents about 1 in every 200 transactions. So we are in a very unique position to share what we've learned along the way. And we're going to be doing that here in this live stream. So Call of Fashion, I think that's a celebratory emoji. I'm looking for my glasses. Emojis can be very small on here, but looks like Call of Fashion has a celebratory emoji, which is very good. So email me podcast@myamazonguy.com. Let me know that you're Call of Fashion, and I promised you a free mag school course valued at $100, which we will get you a coupon code to pick the course of your liking. Could be the PPC course or another one. All you got to do is email me email podcast@myamazonguy.com. And I'm still taking feedback on how your holiday season went. So my holiday season was a pretty good one. My sales were up year over year. I am frozen, so hopefully I didn't freeze for you guys too long there. But we're going to be answering your questions, PPC related. So if you have PPC related questions, go ahead and drop them into the comments, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, I'm looking at the list here, Twitch, Facebook, I think Instagram's on there. We've got other ones. So wherever you're watching us, just drop your questions into the chat and we'll answer those here shortly. But first, I would like to know how things went for you. So Cal of Fashion had a celebratory emoji, and we're giving Cal of Fashion a free $100 mag school course. And who knows, I might give more free $100 mag school courses. And I've even got some other tricks up my sleeve that I might be giving away. But in order to do that, you have to participate. So in addition to being the marketing and partnerships guy at My Amazon Guy, I have been a seller myself now for 9.5 years. It was 2015, which there was a 5 at the end of that year. And now there's a 5 on the end of this year as well. So craziness, right? So time flies when you're having fun. So I've learned a few things along the way with paid ads, and we'll be answering your questions on how you can improve your paid ads, both the My Amazon Guy way, as well as I'll give you my own personal opinions as well. And then Charles Anthony De Jose, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, gave the thumbs up. So I think Charles had a good holiday selling season. So That's good. We have a question coming in, which I'll get to the questions here in just a second. So Charles, go ahead and email podcast@myamazonguide.com and let me know that I promised you a free mag school course, which will give you a coupon code for that. And so then to get to our first question, which before I get into the questions, I will say this. Here's how this works. I've been doing this for a couple of years now here on this live stream, as well as I've been doing live streams for many moons. And the thing I will say that I'm always struck by is some things never change. And one of those things that never changes is kind of like if you were in high school or college and the teacher or professor would say, does anyone have any questions? What does everyone do? Or even sometimes in business meetings, everyone kind of stares around looking at each other. Who's going to ask the first question? Then once people start asking questions, then there's just an energy and people just keep going and going and going and asking lots and lots and lots of questions. And then what's different about that and YouTube and the other platforms we're on is once people start asking questions, the platforms start bringing more people to the live stream because people are engaging. So that means the list of questions starts getting longer and longer and longer and longer. So the queue to get a question takes time. So if you have a question, I would recommend put it into the chat wherever you're located, and we'll get to those somewhat first in, first out. But we'll start getting into some of those questions. Now, what ends up happening is there gets to be an energy behind the questions. And then towards the end, we don't get to all the questions because we have a long list of people in the queue, so to speak, to ask questions, and we run out of time. So I don't want to run out of time. So get your question in early and you will be much more likely to get an answer. So let's get to this question here from Mr. Champion Memes. If sales are not coming in and the bids are okay, which we'll have to do a little digging on what that means, and the keywords are on high search volume, but still the sales are not coming in, any solutions? All right. So I have a strong opinion on this one. So, and feel free to give some more clarity here. But before I give the answer, go ahead and email podcast@myamazonguide.com and I will give you Mr. Champion Memes. Make sure to tell us you're Mr. Champion Memes. Otherwise, I'll have no idea who you are. Let us know that you were the first person to ask a question, and I will also give you a free coupon code for a mag school course. And this will not be the last giveaway we do. So stick around to the end, folks. More is coming. But based on this question, if the sales are not coming in, but the bids are okay, so it means you're at least probably bidding what Amazon's recommending you bid. The keywords are on high search volume, but sales are not coming in, any solutions. My question is, are you getting impressions? So is Amazon actually showing your ad? Oftentimes what will happen is, and one example I like to give is marker. So if you go to Amazon and you type in marker, you see a lot of like crafting markers. You don't see a lot of dry erase markers. This is a dry erase marker. Now, if I'm selling a red dry erase marker, what is the highest search volume keyword there? Marker. What is the highest intent keyword there? Red dry erase marker. Red dry erase marker for this particular product that I'm showing you here is going to get way more sales potentially than just markers. Because if I'm on Amazon, let me actually pull it up here real quick. If I'm on Amazon, so let's share my screen here. So I'm going to share my screen and all right. So if I put in, let's say, marker, and oh, sorry, I don't think I'm sharing. Sorry, I had a cough drop in my mouth. All right, so as you can see, you got a lot of Sharpies and Sharpie, whether the brand Sharpie or similar type, You see some crafting markers. You see like these Crayola markers that you'd have at school, more crafting type markers, lots of vibrant colors, school markers. There's probably highlighters in here somewhere. So, here's some dry erase markers, a big box of black dry erase markers. So you got to put yourself, and here's different colors of dry erase markers. Here's different colors of dry erase markers. So most of this is completely in a movie, completely unrelated to my red dry erase marker. So if you think about this, if I'm trying to sell a red dry erase marker, and use the same logic for whatever you're selling here, Mr. Champion, is that if I am selling this dry erase marker, just because markers has more search volume doesn't mean it's the right keyword for me. You want to take a look and see like, okay, the keyword, is the product's relevant? Like, if someone is searching for whatever your keyword is the product going to be relevant to what they're actually searching for? So it looks like we have a little bit of clarity there. And the product is showing, here we go. Yes, we are getting impressions like 4 to 7K, which is not a huge amount. I'm curious what your click-through rate is, because let's say you have a 1% click-through rate. That'd be 40 to 70 clicks. If you have a 0.2% click-through rate, which is actually not bad for ads, depending on where they're showing on the page, that would be like 8 to 14 clicks a day. So so then the question is, if you're not getting any sales, is it relevant? So then your follow-up here says, and the product is showing our product on the second line of the first, but it's the big brand is taking all the sales. Okay, this happens quite a bit. So we'll use this exact same scenario with markers. So if you're selling markers, let's just say Crayola is a big brand, Sharpie is a big brand, Expo, which is what this actual dry erase marker is a big brand. So sometimes the big brands will get a lot of the impressions and clicking. So couple things to think about is, how can you make your main image better? So that's something that's within your control. Things that are not within your control are like, for example, this one here. I like how they fanned out all the markers they got. I'd like to see it a little bit more zoomed in than that, but they're at least doing something what I think is good there. Crayola is a big brand. They've got 22,000 reviews. So like the big brand in your space, how many reviews do they have versus how many reviews do you have? So you got to think, if you are trying to compete with them, you're going to have a harder time, because more people are going to say, oh, okay, here's a brand I know, which I don't think is as big of a deal on Amazon as it would be like if you're in the store. But then they also see like, oh, they've got a lot of reviews. Amazon's probably giving them favorable placement, which is influencing things. Whereas if I was to go to, let's say, dry erase marker, things are going to be more relevant to if I'm selling the dry erase marker. So is there a more relevant keyword to what you're selling than just having, whatever has the most search volume? Whatever has the most search volume is not always the best keyword. Sometimes the best keyword is what people will vote with their wallets by clicking on and purchasing. And then if I was selling red dry erase markers, I'm not going to get a lot of search volume, but anyone that searches is going to have high intent and much more likelihood of clicking and purchasing mine. And one thing just to point out here is, you can see here, this is really good. What they've done is, I've never heard of X-Trick dry erase markers. Expo, which is an Expo, is the big name. But you can see here, they've got the box there and it says dry erase markers. Even if that's not what the actual box looks like, they've got the word red. They show the red marker on there. I would like to see what the count is a little bit easier, which I guess you can kind of see it there. and they do have them fanned out. So this is a good main image, I think, because it shows you're getting a box of quite a few markers and that they're red. So if you're looking for red dry erase marker, that's going to give you a good insight into, okay, that's the right product for me, as opposed to, clicking on it and realizing like you're getting a completely different type of, dry erase markers or something different. So I would just ask yourself, how relevant are the keywords you're going for? Sure, continue to go after the big keyword. It may take you a little while before you start getting good results, but I would say start finding what are those other keywords that maybe don't get as much search volume, but are more like you're less of a shotgun, which maybe I shouldn't use that on YouTube. You're taking less of a spray and pray type of approach and more of a surgical, with a scalpel going after exact keywords that are going to get you what people are looking for. So looks like you have a couple of other things people said, you wanted to point out. We optimized the title and bullet point back in search keyword, but are reviewed and the ratings are low. 4.5 out of 405 reviews and ratings. Well, 405 is actually pretty good. 4.5 is good. So as long as you're showing 4.5 stars and 405 reviews is good. Now, if you have a big player that's showing like 20,000 reviews, that could hurt you, but 400 is pretty good. Like most people look at it like, oh, okay, 400 is not a newbie. I have heard studies over the years, and I've yet to actually see the data on it, but I've heard studies over the years that, your first, let's say 20 to 50 reviews, the number of reviews you have is more important than the review score itself, as long as it's like above a 4. Now, if it's a 1, I still sell products that have sometimes 1-star review, and they still do fine because people look at it as like, it's just 1 review. Now, if you have 400 reviews and 1 star, people are not going to touch it. But as you get to a certain point, it becomes less important about the number of reviews you have and more about the score. So 4.5 and you have 400 reviews is solid. It's not quite as important how many you have. How many you have is still important, and you're still probably competing with a big brand that has lots of reviews. But I would say if I were in your shoes, I would start focusing more and more on what are those more surgical keywords that you can go after, as opposed to that main keyword that sounds like you're really focused on. So, all right, so let's get to some other questions here. Lots of good questions coming in here. Has Amazon released any new PPC options we should really take a look at going into 2025? That's going to be an interesting question. What does Amazon roll out in the year 2025? So on this channel, which if you're not subscribed, I highly recommend that you do, Noah Wickham, our sales director, actually just put out a video showing that we're only seeing this in beta in a handful of accounts. I haven't even looked to see if this is in my own personal account. So this may or may not be available to you. When you go to create a account, create an account. To create a campaign, you can actually start seeing a new option where you can advertise across certain retailers. Now, it's not a lot. It was like iHerbs or iHerbs. I'm not exactly 100% how you pronounce it, .com, and Say We, which I think was a grocer of some sort. So the first one was better if you're doing supplements, and the other one is better if you're doing grocery. Neither of them might be, even if it's available to you, which for a lot of accounts, a lot of times they do these little tests in small batches and small number of accounts, and then start to open up wide before they say, hey, everybody, this is an official feature. I would say if that is available to you, just take a look at it and see if it makes sense to your products. But they're basically, if you think about this, Amazon has gone from their most profitable division of the company was AWS, Amazon Web Services, which you're really just moving zeros and ones across a server. So that's what it was. So it was high profit margins. What has become a higher profit margin? That is advertising. So for Amazon, they got to start finding new placements because they know their customers don't want to just see everything as sponsored. So page one is way more sponsored than it used to be. It's more of a pay to play. And then, when you look at every listing, there's way more sponsored placements than there used to be, a few years ago. So what did they do? They started going into other places. So whether you're doing sponsored display, retargeting, or DSP, where you have a lot more control over it, you're going into other publishers and you're showing your ads in other places. Now they're starting to go after other retailers. So they're basically saying to their competition, hey, let us advertise on your platform. And that'll be an interesting one of how many retailers over time adopt it. Because I think most of those retailers would probably want to keep the traffic on their site as opposed to giving it to one of their competitors. But maybe some of these, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe it opens up to Whole Foods and other ones over time that are Amazon owned. But it'll be interesting. So back to your question of what's happening into 2025. I wish I had a crystal ball, but that seems to be one direction is Amazon's going to be looking for more and more placements out because they're running out of space on their own platform. Like they could just have here's Amazon's, ad site, and it's nothing but an ad site. But then you get to a certain point where then the users are like, well, I can't find the products I'm looking for because everything's an ad. And some people get turned off by ads, even though it's not easy to tell what the ads are. And I think the general Amazon user is not sure that something is an ad. But there's enough people that are savvy to that, if everything was a sponsored placement, they would turn off as a customer, regardless of what their feelings are as a seller. As we would love to see more organic placements and have our products rank. But I would say going into this year, it's what creative placements are they going to come up with, which will have to be on other websites. And so what do they make available to us? All right. So Nassim asks, what do you estimate the typical tacos values are for cosmetic, personal, and healthcare products? Okay. So good question. Totally depends on the product. You're going to have to, if this is something where it's like a subscribe and save type product, you're going to have to look at this, not just tacos of like an initial sale of one sale, but what is the lifetime value? So you'll have to look and see like how many subscribe and saves do you have, how many times are people buying? Because you want to know what is the lifetime value of the customer. So when you're talking about cosmetic, personal, and healthcare products, and the same thing with supplements. So anything that's ingestible where people, or I guess cosmetics wouldn't be ingestible, but anything that is consumable where people are potentially coming back and purchasing it again in the future, you want to know, what is the lifetime value of a customer? So if people buy on average, 1.7 times or 3 times or whatever your margin is, you can multiply that. So if you have a 30% margin on the product or a 40% margin on the product, and they buy on average twice, then you really have 80% margins. Because ideally they're coming back and they're lazy like me, and they just go into their orders and they just find, what was that product I bought before? And like, okay, I'll buy it again. I mean, I have products that I've bought like 50 times over the years on Amazon because I'm like, I don't want to have to go searching for something again. What I bought before worked just fine, and it's in my my orders. So you want to look and see for your tacos, what can you get away with for your particular product, and how often people buy the products is going to vary differently across products within health and beauty. So you want to know, like, what is the lifetime value of a customer? Like, how many times are they buying and how much margin do you have across all of those purchases? Because if you can lose money, even in tacos, off of the initial sale to get future sales, and I know this is a little harder to calculate, you can still be profitable. So you probably want to look at it as like, okay, what is your overall, how much are people repurchasing, and kind of go from there. So hopefully that helped. All right. If you have questions, get them into the chat. The questions are starting to build up. And as I said, we will eventually run out of time. But real quick, I just wanted to thank Timohir Miskasek. Hopefully I said that right, is now a YouTube member. So thank you for joining our YouTube membership. And if you're interested in joining our YouTube membership, or you are, not subscribed to the channel, at least subscribe to the channel so you can get updates on what's going on Amazon. All right. So let's get to official natural X. Hi, what's the best way to utilize the new AMC data and implementing a strategy for incremental sales? Okay. So you're wanting to get incremental sales. AMC data. Why is I the guy who hosts 2 summits a year in the ad space? Is this Amazon Marketing Cloud? Which honestly, I'm not the expert on Amazon Marketing Cloud. I think that's what you mean by AMC. Implementing a new strategy for incremental sales. I'm not 100% sure. I think the easier thing to do for most people is just go into brand analytics. And we've got tons of videos on this channel where Stephen and Noah walk you through how you can use brand analytics to help you find new ways to find, new keywords and new opportunities for incremental sales, as well as what are those top keywords for your product that you could potentially even put on the packaging that is on your main image. So that would be another thing you could do. All right. So I did promise some courses to folks earlier. Charles Anthony de Jose, which again, hopefully I said correctly. Thanks. I'm excited for that course. So yes, I did a little giveaway. I will be doing some more giveaways and I'll just sprinkle them in throughout. All right. So then a question here from Charles is, all of the metrics are performing well, but want to improve tacos. What would be your strategy? Okay. When you say all of your metrics are performing well, that is, I guess that's a dependent question. So let's say you're profitable, you're getting a good click-through rate, you're getting good conversion rate. You want to improve tacos. So you have a couple ways you could do that. So you could either decrease your costs, assuming your sales stay flat, or you could increase your sales, assuming your costs stay flat. So what might be the better thing to do if things are already working pretty well for you is don't break or don't fix what's not broken, as they say. And maybe focus on your main image. And so your main image is going to be the biggest driver for getting you more sales. So let me just go back to showing everybody Amazon here. So instead of looking at markers, let's look at one of my favorites, which is Colgate, or no, let's say toothpaste bulk. Let's see. Oh, it showed up. It always shows up. All right. So this one here, Colgate pack of 6. So what they did was they wanted to make sure you knew that this particular Colgate, so you see what the box looks like, you see what the product itself within the box looks like. They wanted to make sure you knew it's a pack of 6. And this is the #1 top rated product for this particular keyword. Now, here's the funny thing to point out, because sometimes people will say, like, but if I add keywords to the product, is that against Amazon's terms of service? Well, let's just see who's selling this product. This pack of 6, which it looks like they just took this in like Canva and just threw Colgate's logo on the side of a moving box and put the word pack of 6. This is sold by Amazon. So it is shipped from, so it's fulfilled by Amazon and sold by Amazon. So this is a 1P. Amazon themselves is the seller of this product. And they're using this exact tactic of putting a keyword, prominent keyword, which their data must suggest people want to know this is a pack of 6. And this product seems to be doing very well. 20,000 people bought it last month. So Amazon's own internal data supports doing this. And I've noticed this particular listing for about a year. It might have even been this way before that. But let's just take a look down and see, like, okay, but is this really how it gets to people? So this pack of 6, if I scroll on down, this is the cheat code to know when you look at other products on Amazon, especially ones that are high volume, is what they're advertising it, what it actually looks like. So here, this is literally the same purchase. So I doubt this particular person. This looks like a bot. Whitening effect, comma, with no space. Breath freshness. Colgate Cavite protection toothpaste. Okay, I have a feeling that's a bot. Why? I don't know. Why somebody would want a bot to do that. But like, look at this. This is probably more how I would imagine the product comes to you. Is that you get it in, see, it's like stacked 3 high with 2 per level. So that's your pack of 6. There you go. Same kind of thing. And it's even got this like pull here. So this is the actual packaging, because they have something they're suggesting that you don't use a knife. So then, same thing here. 3 high by 2 wide. So they are what's the word I'm looking for? They're making it look that way. So it's sorry, somebody else is just walking in here. Busy till 1 p.m. because I'm with you folks. All right. So, but you can see it's basically they're just taking 6 tubes of toothpaste and like putting shrink wrap around them. And that's how you're getting it. So you're not getting this pack of 6 with the word in giant lettering on the side where it says pack of 6. So what is that word you can use, which you can use brand analytics? So going back to the original question, if you can find ways that there are more products that you can offer, or more ways that you can position your product that makes it more clickable, that the customer would actually click on, you're going to be more likely that number 1 in your category that has hopefully 20,000 purchase. Although that's a very, not all products on Amazon have the potential to have what this product is. But you can see this is something Amazon themselves is doing. It's a gray area, but Amazon's getting away with it themselves. All right. So now let's get to the next question here. So what is the accuracy of the click data for ASINs in the Product Opportunity Explorer? I've never validated it, but it's Amazon first-party data. So I would say it's going to be fairly accurate, as opposed to some of the third-party tools out there are really just using Amazon's or their own algorithms to figure that out. And then how do you estimate conversion rates of products in the product research stage? I wouldn't worry too much about the conversion rate of the product. Well, I guess you could, if you knew potential clicks and you knew potential sales, you could just divide them, units divided by sessions or clicks, whatever data you're looking at, which is on various different reports. That would give you a potential conversion rate. All right. So again, if you have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. I'm going to keep going to some other questions. We got some folks who are asking some really good questions. And so I want to respect everyone's time, but we are building up on questions. So if you want to get your question asked, you're going to have a much better chance of getting that asked if you ask it now, as opposed to waiting until the end of the live stream. So, all right, next up, I'm Charles Anthony De Jose. I'm watching right now that also at LinkedIn. Oh, okay. Yes, you asked a question elsewhere. Of all the metrics before. Oh, we already answered this one. Okay. So going back to Mr. Champion mentioned before that I'm assuming he, Mr. Has his product has 405 reviews and a 4.5 star rating. So this brand has 14,000 reviews, and the brand is in Liquid IV. Oh, Liquid IV. Okay. And our brand is Instant IV. The brand is Instant. Oh, okay. Got it. So let's go ahead and just pull up. So if we go to hydration, toothpaste, hydration powder. Okay. So your brand was Instant IV. So Liquid IV, you've heard of them. They're in the grocery stores, the pharmacies. They're all over. And your brand is Instant IV, which I'm not seeing on here. So what are those keywords that you could maybe potentially rank for a little bit more? So like, for example, one thing you could do is focus on flavor or pack size. Does yours come in a canister like this where they scoop, or is it these little, whatever you call them, individual packs? Your brand was Instant. Let's see if Instant shows up. No, and so you're not on the first page for hydration powder, which you might have a different keyword. I'm kind of just going with this on the fly. But maybe you want to go after, let's just assume yours is lemon. Okay. So still competitive. This one has 2,000. Drip Drop is still a big brand. So there's still a lot of big brands on here. But this one here, I've never heard of this brand. Oh, they have 12,000. I've heard of them. I've not heard of them. Oh, they have 14, and they're not even lemon. So as you can see, the relevancy starts to go off just when I added the word lemon. So maybe what are those other keywords you could go after? Like, so, oh, this one, sugar-free lemon lime hydration powder. Now, I wouldn't go after, if you have a berry flavor, I wouldn't go after the word lemon. But I would start looking at, what are those longer tail keywords that you could go after that you might be more willing to show up for. And instead of, 20,000, oh, that one's 149,000. It's probably a bad example. But, they're up at the top here. But as you start going down on page 1, you've got, what are they doing to get on page 1 of anything with 14? Or this one here, 3 stars. Oh, that's not good. With 64 reviews, 463. So they're in the this particular brand's in the ballpark of where you're at. This one is less than where you're. Oh, that's Noon or none. I've heard of them. Liquid Labs, not heard of them, and they're at 3,000, and they're getting about 1,000 a month. So then you could start taking let's say you start finding some of these ones that are not the big name brands, and you could take these not Liquid IV or Gatorade, but some of these non-name brands that are showing up with similar type reviews to what you have. So like this particular brand, this brand, this brand. Well, that's Liquid IV. Never mind. I would even maybe look at this brand or this one, which is low, and do a reverse ASIN search. If you have helium-10, you could do that, and you could see what keywords are all of them showing up for, because you're probably going to find a gold mine of long tail keywords that I would imagine some of these products went after long tail keywords, and that's what got them moving along there. So, all right. Now, moving forward, let's answer another question here. So RJ Pabs asks, any advice? We have new launch product, since we don't have any reviews yet. Our conversion rate is too low and sales is too low. Any advice on how we can succeed in our sales and improve it? So yes, this is the classic chicken and egg Amazon flywheel problem. How do you get sales? Because in order to get sales, you got to get sales. In order to get sales, you got to get impressions. To get impressions, you got to get sales. Amazon isn't going to show your product if they don't have data on whether or not people are going to buy. We got good impression, but bad conversion, even when we target relevant keywords. So one thing to always keep in the back of our mind, relevant keywords are not relevant to us. They're relevant to the customer. So always think of it as, now on Amazon, they have the credit card like on file. No one actually does this, but imagine them pulling out their wallet, pulling the credit card out, typing it in, and that is their way of voting. Now, they actually already have the credit card on file, but they're taking their hard-earned money and they're voting for the product. So it may seem relevant, but if customers aren't buying, it's not relevant. So some of the advice I gave other folks were start looking at some of the longer tail keywords, potentially, especially if they're more focused and laser beam, more like a sniper than I don't know if I should be using those terms, but you know what I mean? Like you want to go after after keywords that are going to be super relevant to your product. And then I would take a look at your main image. Is your main image, compare it to the other products? How can you improve your main image? Do you have a keyword in your main image? Which you can't just put like a keyword on there. So you have to put it like on packaging. And as I just gave the example of Colgate pack of 6, you don't actually receive a box that says Colgate pack of 6. You just get a shrink wrapped of 6 things of toothpaste. So that would be my suggestion to you. All right. So Tim here, Mesa Kick says, hi, is it possible to repeat product launch strategy started 4 weeks ago with Amazon Honeymoon Refresh because Amazon was late with the transfer of goods from the AWD warehouse. Yeah, that happens sometimes where it just takes longer to get from point A to point B than we think it should, or Amazon even advertises it should. So I would say, is it possible to repeat product launch? You can try, and we've got some honeymoon period videos on this channel. So I would go check them out. It's willing to try, or, you can always try. In my estimation, Amazon is still trying to figure out your product. So the honeymoon periods, it exists. We believe it exists here at My Amazon Guy. Our data suggests we do have some videos on this channel, which you can go back and refer to on how to reset the honeymoon period. I would take a look at some of those. You want to try to get some initial sales. Do whatever you can to get initial sales. It is frustrating. I feel for you that 4 weeks ago, Amazon didn't get your product in sale. And that was during the holiday season, which oftentimes you can just get some sales just because people are just buying like crazy. 4 weeks ago was really good. So I'm sorry about that. So I feel for you. But yeah, check out some of those videos on our channel about the honeymoon period. All right. So Mimi must be watching the beginning of where I asked, how was the holiday season? Not great for me. So I'm sorry to hear that. So hopefully we've given you some tips here on this live stream that can help you along the way. So we are starting to run low on time. So if you have questions, now is a great time to ask them. We'll get to your questions. I will do some more giveaways. Stick around to the end. You must be here to win. So if you watch the replay, you wouldn't be eligible to win, but you can always come back to another live stream here in the future. Charles Anthony De Jose says, perfect. Thanks a lot for the great answer. Yes, my pleasure. Glad I was able to help you, and excited for the free course. How can I avail it? Oh, yes. So anyone I promised something to, which I can always go back and watch the recording to confirm who I promised what to. But if I promised you anything, just email podcast at like you listen to a podcast at myamazonguy.com. All right. Then next up, oh, hi says, for beauty category, which keyword type works best? I tried all, but it kind of eats up my funds. Sales is less. I did work on my main image, but no A+. Okay. I would get yourself some A+ content, especially for beauty. You really want to showcase the products. A+ content gives you a good chance to showcase like lifestyle images, as well as if you're not familiar with this, you can have up to 100 characters in the alt text field of each image of your A+ content. And we do offer A+ content services here at My Amazon Guy. But for the beauty category, which keyword type works best? Now, do you mean like exact, broad, phrase, or, I'm assuming that's what you mean. I would say focus on at least exact and broad. Now, I'd put them into different campaigns just so you have a little bit more. You'd have a lot more control over the data if you did it that way. So that would be my suggestion to you there. I tried all of a kind, eats up my funds, but sales is less. So yeah. So Stephen, which earlier this year, I keep forgetting it's a new year. So last year in 2024, Stephen put out a video where he was showcasing some examples of if everyone is going after exact match keywords, that just raises the bids on exact match keywords. So if you're Amazon, you're like, all right, I'm just going to jack up the cost of an exact match. So what we suggest you do is also focus on broad match, because broad match, you're going to get some deals that you wouldn't get otherwise. You might even get lower for the same keyword, but because you were willing to go for broad, you were willing to let Amazon kind of go a little crazy, so to speak. You would get some potential, lower price clicks, and you would get the opportunity to see what other keywords are out there that Amazon thinks your product is relevant for. And then you can always go and negate keywords. So if you're finding, every time the word red shows up, you can make red a phrase match or negative phrase match. And then if you find like, ruby red slipper doesn't work for you because you're going after red slipper, but ruby red slipper, I don't know why I thought of Wizard of Oz type reference there. But if that doesn't work for you, then you could put in ruby red slipper as an exact match, or as a negative exact match, excuse me. So that would be my suggestion. Focus more on broad and exact and less on phrase. I have yet to find anybody who's super excited. And I've been doing this again for almost 10 years, selling on Amazon. And my first sale of my product label product was almost 9 years ago, which means I started advertising. I think it was February of 2016 that I started advertising. I've never been a huge fan of phrase. I feel like it's just kind of there. It gives you a little bit more granularity. I'm not a huge phrase guy, and I've yet to meet anyone who is, but it could be worth testing out too. Never take everyone's like, do this, don't do this. Test it and see how it works for you. But if it's not working, don't do more of it. If it is working, do lots more of it, is what I tend to find. All right. RJ Pab says, and our price has already dropped based on the market price range. Still, conversion is not great. Our category is sports and outdoors. So you're saying it's based on the market price range. Again, I would take a look at your keyword, or sorry, what keywords do you have in your main image? Really find a way to make your main image better. That's probably one of your things you need to focus on. And then the conversion, if your conversion rate's not great, how can you improve your image stack? Like, do people have questions? So one of the ways you could figure out, like if you don't have a lot of sales and you don't have a lot of feedback from customers, look at the 1 and 2 star reviews of very similar products to yours and see what are people complaining about. How do you counter the opposite of that with a sales message, sales and marketing message, and make sure that that's in some of your secondary images and your A+ content. So those would be some things I would focus on. Is, do customers understand your product? And one thing you could do is you can ask people that hey, take a look at this, send them the link. Do you think this product does X or Y? And give them 2 options. And that it does Y, but you're also throwing an X as a red herring, so to speak. So you could see, do people interpret your product the way you think they do? PickFu, which we're a big fan of. If you go to PickFu, PICKFU, no profanity, it's just their spelling, like Kung Fu. You could go to pickfu.com and you could put in your ASIN and they can have real people give you feedback on your product. You could also take the main image of your product and the main image of a similar product and see which they like better, which they'd be more likely to click on. So I would start getting some feedback. Whether feedback is you're paying for feedback with a product like PickFu, you're just asking around for people to give you feedback on the product. Now, you want to be careful of these people that know and like you or family members. Hey, what do you think of? Because they're going to just say nice things. So you want to try to pick something that's going to be somewhat polarizing. Do you think it does this or this? How many is included? Something, something that, do you think this is more for hiking or for baseball? Like, it's probably not a good analogy. I just saw it sports and outdoor, but like, think of something where people might get confused and ask people, hey, which is it? And let them tell you. And hopefully they tell you what you want to hear, or that you were trying to convey, I should say, as opposed to what you want to hear. All right. So then Andy H says, hi there. Is it better to have the same generic keywords for all 3 color variations? I have different for each color. Well, okay. So that's going to depend on the type of product. I have some products where literally I just go in and I change. Like if I have color variation, I just change whatever. Like if I have black, I change it to blue. If black wasn't just like in the the field for color, but I had it maybe in the title or the bullet points or product description or somewhere else, I literally would change it and then maybe leave everything else the same if that product was selling well and it was communicating the message of what I wanted to get across for that product. So I would take a look at that and see, like, is that something that you are able to, if people looking at your product, is everything else basically equal, regardless if it's black, blue, red, pink, green, whatever. Then start looking at some of your competitors and then say, okay, this one, okay, for whatever reason, green, there's different intent. I don't think for most keywords for color, there's that much difference of intent. But again, you have to test this and you have to take a look and see, like, how are your successful competitors doing this, would be my suggestion. So take a look, see what others are doing. When in doubt, I would start, if this is you're looking to start or looking to add color variations, I would just start with the same keywords that you're using now. If we're talking about ads itself and not just the listing, which I kind of was answering the question regarding listing, but if you're thinking of ads, what you could do is start looking at, okay, certain keywords are going to, for whatever reason, maybe green works better and black works better on another keyword. Or one thing you could do is, what is your top seller? Send all the traffic to your top seller. And then if, there are child variations for colors, they can pick the different colors. And then you could create separate campaigns for green, fill in the blank, for red, fill in the blank. And you have separate, campaigns for each color variation, which you literally could just take all the same keywords and just add the word red, green, whatever to, and then only kind of go after those longer tail keywords that are more specific, because sometimes people are looking for a pink whatever or a green whatever, but maybe the red or the black or blue or whatever is the most popular, most likely to convert keyword. All right. MD Letten Ali Sarker says, I'm running auto and broad and getting good sales for auto campaigns. That's good. Should I try to do an exact match with those search terms that got sales from the auto campaign? Absolutely. Now, here's our phrase at My Amazon Guy. Never negate a good keyword. So you could also add those good keywords from auto campaign into your broad, because you might have even longer tail keywords that it shows up for whatever reason in the broad campaign. And then if you have an exact campaign, your exact campaign may or may not perform as well as your auto campaign. Why? No one knows. Just the algorithm sometimes favors some campaigns over the other. Like if you were to download your bulk file template, you'll look and see like every keyword has its own identifier. There's an ID, there's a record ID for everything in there. So the algorithm's making all these calculations on various record IDs for keywords. And so certain keywords it likes better in certain campaigns, certain correlations it's finding, and it just works. And sometimes the algorithm, and there's no rhyme or reason, likes the auto campaign better. Sometimes it likes the exact campaign better for the exact keyword. And why negate it if it's working? So that would be my suggestion. Definitely test it out, but don't negate it for the purposes of, what's the word I'm looking for that people use? I'm drawing a blank. For keyword isolation, I think is the word I've heard used over time. All right. So then Ohai says, thank you for the detailed responses. I've been playing around with all types of keywords, but somehow not able to bring down my ACOS through manage to get sales velocity. Really appreciate your response. I'm glad to help. So glad this was helpful for you. And then Charles Anthony De Jose says, how do you structure a campaign if you have 1,000 SKUs? Oh boy. All right. So I would say if you have large catalogs, and I have about 500 and something SKUs. I'm going to retire a bunch of the SKUs that I don't think are profitable anymore, or not really worth carrying. But if you have a lot of SKUs, so I know where you're going with this, not quite as many as you have, you get to a point where like, a lot of the advice is like, have like these single keyword campaigns and don't put more than 5 keywords in a campaign, and separate these things out, which are great. But when you have some products, if you have thousands of SKUs, you probably have some products that sell one a quarter, one every 3 months, and it probably has like a 500,000 BSR. And that's fine as long as you're profitable and you're not just paying Amazon for long-term storage fees on all these things. Have at it. But when you're looking at like, okay, I want to spend money, where can you spend money most effectively. So I would say for large catalogs, focus on what are your top products that are selling well. Then where do you have opportunities and start going after those. Now, if you have, let's say, I know some people with large catalogs, it's because they have like color size variations. So they might have a parent with like 80 or 100 or a couple hundred variations, because sometimes there's, multiple layers of, um, you know, variation types. So when you have multiple variation types, you tend to have multiple variations. So my suggestion would be, if you can, package them together. And so this is something I've done when you have color variations, is if the keywords are all seemingly relevant and you're not sure, is the pink or the yellow or the green or whatever going to, work the best, this is going to be borderline sacrilegious to some folks, but just put them all in the same campaign, all the same variation. See which ones are getting the best sales over time, and then start turning off the ad level for the product for the variations that are not doing as well. That might raise your ACOS. So maybe if you have a lot of variations, you maybe go after your top variations. But that would be my suggestion. So focus, because there's also the element of time. So if you're starting to figure all this out, focus on what are your top products, what have the most opportunities, and where can you consolidate things. So, all right. So that's going to be the last question I'm going to take here. So I did promise to do a giveaway. So I'm going to go a couple minutes over so I can do a giveaway. We have the Convert More Click Summit, which I've not officially announced yet, but that'll be happening February 4th through the 6th. I'm kind of looking over at a calendar to cheat. But that'll be happening February 4th through the 6th. We're going to bring in a bunch of experts to help you drive more traffic and convert more sales. I'm going to give away a free VIP ticket. So if you would like to win a free VIP ticket to the Convert More Click Summit, all you got to do is type in MAG as an MAG, which I think is, my hand on my screen is not moving the same direction, but I think it's up here in the corner. Maybe I'm pointing at the wrong corner. From what you see on my screen, it looks like I'm pointing at the right corner. So if you see MAG in the corner, just type in MAG for My Amazon Guy, and you'll be entered to win a free ticket to the VIP level ticket, which means you get lifetime access to it and some bonuses as well to the Convert More Click Summit, which I haven't even started advertising. I'm still inviting speakers, which I'm a little behind, but I always pull them together. But with that, I'm going to give away here in just momentarily. So if you're interested, go ahead and type into the chat MAG, and I'm going to pull up the wheel of names. All right. So let me share my screen. All right. So this is the wheel of names. Okay, come on. There we go. All right. So we have Wen Luan, which hopefully I said that right. I don't have the same special characters. We have Susan R. We have RJ Pabs. Now, one little inside baseball trick is we always, every time I do these type of giveaways, we get more people watching than we have people enter. So you have a disproportional chance of winning if you enter yourself to win. Ali Anwar, Mustafa. MDG Jacaria. And you only have to put yourself in once. So if you put yourself in twice, I'm only going to take one entry per person. That is the rule here. Charles Anthony De Jose. We already have MDG Jacaria. The next one, previously, I learned, oh boy, people are going crazy. Haha. People hacking themselves a bunch of times. Alone MLA, I know, is Charles, who we've already gotten. Who have I missing? I've already got Ali Anwar. Zeke Khan. I've got Naeem. Call of Fashion. All right, so this is going to be last call here. All right, I got you, folks. I got you. All right, Viet Dreamers Studio. This is for a VIP ticket to the upcoming Convert More Click Summit, which is $197 value. Hazik Khan, I've already got. Trang Wen. Sorry. Trang Wen. Amroth. And Paul. All right, so this will be the last person. Paul Benedict. All right, so going once, going twice. I'm going to click the wheel, and the winner will get a free VIP ticket to the upcoming Convert More Click Summit, which is a virtual summit, so you don't have to travel anywhere. So with that, that's February 4th through the 6th. You have lifetime access to recordings in case you can't make it. All right, so we have RJ Pabs. RJ Pabs, Amazon Guy, again, podcast at My Amazon Guy, and let me know you were the winner of the free VIP tickets to the Convert More Click Summit coming up. And we did some other giveaways and had some other winners. So if you were a winner, email me at the same email address that I just mentioned. And hopefully everyone is a winner because we were all learning together. As Stephen likes to say, it's not me versus you. It's all of us versus Amazon because we're all trying to figure this puppy out. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe and we'll see you at the next one. Take care.